Hi, and welcome back to Alex Talking. It's a beautiful Sunday here in Edgewater, Colorado, and I'm thrilled to talk about Jackass Best and Last. Jackass Best and Last is the fifth film in the Jackass franchise. Technically, the sixth, I guess, because of Bad Grandpa. As I say that a lot, I realize. And if we want to get really technical, you can include Jackass 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, and Bad Grandpa .5 and say that this is the 10th Jackass movie, which brings you to a really nice number with this franchise, actually, because if you ever are with friends in high school and do a Jackass marathon, you will never skip the point fives. So you would watch 10 of these movies. And I love them. I think that this is the best comedy series ever. I realized that watching this movie because this is a really interesting example of a movie. Because when I heard they were doing this earlier this year, I can tell you what I thought whenever Jackass Forever came out when I was in high school. I saw it in February in a snowstorm. Me and 7 friends, including 2 of theirs, they were twins, their father drove us through the snowstorm, 2 cars. We met at the Carlisle Commons in Pennsylvania and watched with a sold out theater as we all scream laughed at the pig come and just couldn't get enough of Danger Aaron being tortured by the bear. And Danger Aaron's the MVP of that one. I'm so glad that Steve-O acknowledges that in this movie. That was probably my favorite part of Jackass Best and Last. There's a scene where Steve-O just fully acknowledges that Dunn's the MVP of 3 and that Danger Aaron's the MVP of Forever. And as like a Jackass fan, that would 100% swear Ryan Dunn is the MVP of 3 and that Danger Aaron is the MVP of Forever. I was like, holy shit! Even Steve-O, they're aware of that. I love it. They're so real. They're so real. I just loved that. Like that was like such a little thing that I was like, that's great. Something that my friends and I have all talked about before. Who's the best in every Jackass movie? And Steve-O's so humble because it's either him or I don't know. Dave England's really good in part 2 as well, but it's Steve-O or Dave England in part 2. Um, damn, I love these movies so much, but I realize it's the best movie or comedy franchise, anyways, because how could you get this level of like I literally just said there's 10 movies, and even though there's only like 5 mainline movies, they're all great. They'll all make you laugh out loud so hard throughout, and even though as I watched Jackass Forever twice in theaters in high school, and we loved it. My friends and I just thought it was the best thing ever. And we all said, whenever I was a host of a movie club in high school, and Jackass Forever was ever we loved it. Like for a week or two, everyone talked about it, and we all said, I really hope they do a 5th one. I really hope they do another one, especially because we all liked Rachel Wolfson and Poopies and Jasper. And honestly, Jackass might be my favorite of the new members. I mean, he's built for this shit. So I really wanted them to get the opportunity to come back and do a 5th movie. And as 2 years went by and it didn't happen, as much as it's weird to say, I was like, well, it won't happen then if it didn't happen within a year. So whenever earlier this year it was announced this was happening, I was super, super excited. Genuinely, it shot immediately up to my top 5 most anticipated of the year because these are all 5-star comedies to me and just make me hurt from laughing anytime I watch them. I've seen Jackass 2 over 10 times according to my Letterboxd. Shout out to Letterboxd. I'll drop that link down in the description if you want to follow there. I love writing on there. I really like writing in-depth reviews, trying to get my writing going. Start a movie website, maybe even, who knows? Just graduated from Penn State with a journalism degree. Got to do something with that. And I love writing and talking about movies, so that's all what this whole thing is, Anyways, I got a little more nervous as it went on. I never saw a trailer for this movie. I can say that. Because I saw a TV spot, and the TV spot made me so nervous because it made it look like it was just going to be a clip show. And I was so that actually, I will say, not seeing a trailer and seeing a TV spot that only made it seem like a clip show lowered my expectations to a 4 out of 10. Not that I was against my guys at all, and my love for them still made me excited, But I was like, oh, if it's really that and it's called Jackass Best and Last, I kind of just assumed that it was going to be exactly what it was, but worse. And it wasn't. It wasn't a bad version of a clip show. In a lot of ways, it is. I walked out of this with a headache from laughing at every single segment except for one. The exact same thing happened with Jackass Forever. It was whenever Steve-O tried to pass gas and light it on fire in Jackass Forever. That bit is not funny at all to me. And in this one, it was whenever they all, spoiler alert, skip ahead 5 seconds or 10 seconds if you don't want to hear this. It's when they all took laxatives and just shit themselves playing Twister. Had to send my wife out of the theater for that one too, because she told me, if you can tell they're going to shit, just send me out of the theater. I could tell. But I love that with both these movies, there were literally one segment in the entire movie that didn't make me laugh. And everything else, beat for beat, the entire segment, or the entire movie, every segment at least got one laugh out of me. Because it's just so consistently funnier than any other type of humor. And by doing a clip show segment, they do get a little bit too repetitive at times. The biggest issue would be, and like this isn't a spoiler, this is also a movie I feel it's borderline impossible to spoil. It's Jackass Best and Last, and I would hope you've seen it if you've seen this video. So from here on out, I'm just going to talk freely about this movie. If you can't tell, I'd recommend it. Go see it. You're going to laugh. This is the last chance you get to laugh in a theater full of fellow jackasses at the funniest people on earth. In a theater, you know what I mean? Like, this is the last chance you get at that. So go see this. Like, that would be my strongest message, regardless of if this is the best Jackass or not. Go see this because it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I now have gotten it twice to get to laugh in a theater full of people watching one of these movies for the first time, and it's awesome. But that being said, they like do the entire Silence of the Lambs bit from Forever, but they just add the Bam footage because Bam's cut out of Forever. So like, whenever it's stuff like that, I wasn't annoyed at all. But as I was watching it, I thought, because I was laughing. Like, that still made me laugh, because anytime I watch Forever, like the 5th time I watched Forever at home, I still laughed watching Silence of the Lambs. So I'm not going to not laugh watching it in a theater. It just made me actively think, whenever I do watch this at home, I'll think, oh, this is just the bit from Forever. And if you do watch them all back to back, then it's just you're watching the same exact bit again. The Alamo Drafthouse did something really weird. They made us watch the same exact bit twice in one night. This movie, one of the clips from the past they show, which is genuinely one of the best, and like taking clips from the TV show and taking unaired clips MTV wouldn't let them show, are great for archival footage to fill out the runtime for this movie. I guess what I'm saying is I can't stand reused footage. If I'm going to complain about that with the beginning of Friday the 13th movies, why wouldn't I with a Jackass movie that has more reused footage than any other movie I've ever seen in a theatrically released film? But it's done in a way that, you know, by adding Bam here and there, it didn't make me bored in the theater. It just made me think this will hurt this on a rewatch, and especially in a marathon to watch. But as a Jackass fan, it didn't actually hurt the movie, and it made for a very rewarding, beautiful experience. Whenever I make movies with my friends in high school, I would make the credits like a memorial or a tribute to the experience and to them. To look back on. Like, I'd play a nice song like Don't Dream It's Over, and instead of just putting the person's name, I'd like put clips of them like flubbing a line and like their name. Like, that's how I would do my cast and stuff like that. That's kind of what this entire movie felt like, from Jeff Tremaine in Knoxville, and even to the final shot after the entire amazing credits. The credits for this movie are great. Just like any other Jackass movie, you'll stay through the whole thing. It ends with a very young Tremaine in Knoxville. Knoxville's like that, like they're like, that was so dangerous, that was really scary. But it looks exactly like we want. We got exactly what we wanted. And Tremaine's like, I don't know if it's exactly what I wanted. Knoxville's like, it's exactly what I wanted. Beautiful, beautiful ending. My wife looked at me and said, "What did that mean?" And I said, "That's the director. I mean, that's everything. That was everything it needed to be. That was a perfect button on this." And as a creative, like, found it to be really touching. These guys are true mavericks, and what they do is hilarious. It's meant to be laughed at, but it's also really just so fucking awesome and creative, and just brings joy to the world in such a pure and wholesome way, in my opinion, that I'll never stop watching these movies and cheering these guys on. And the fact that they got to make one more movie, there weren't that many new bits, there weren't a ton of new footage, but the ones that were there were funny. I wish that the robot wasn't in it. I'll be honest, that was the thing that really made me go, they're running on fumes. But also, like, as Knoxville like tears up and says this will be the last one because it has to be. It's just so clear this time around it has to be, and that's okay. And that's okay. And like Knoxville says every time, Steve-O even makes fun of him in the movie that it's going to be the last one. But you can fully tell they could tell filming it this was going to be the last one, not just because Knoxville cries saying that, because Poopy actually sobs saying, I just realized I'm never going to film another segment with you guys again, and he's just crying, and it's so sad. It made me cry. That was the part of the movie I cried. Because it was like, damn, that's so sad. He just got to join them, and it's over already. Like, that truly is, like, there's so many perspectives to take from this movie, and it's a documentary in its own way like that. The beginning of this movie, this whole movie's a documentary. The beginning of this movie is one of the best found footage horror movie segments ever. Knoxville firing a revolver into his chest in the middle of the desert and then just getting up and getting in a car. I like to like visualize the idea of guys being like, well, the bit is we shoot ourselves in the chest with a gun. We can't do that in our apartment. Somebody will hear, they'll call the cops. Okay, well, yeah, there's too many houses nearby. Okay, let's go over there. Okay, well, I mean, there's still too many people nearby. Let's drive a little far. And then they just fucking wind up in the middle of the desert, and then they still are, like, doing something so fucking illegal and dangerous that as soon as he shoots himself in the chest with the fucking gun, he, like, falls, gets up, and gets back, and, like, they get him in the car immediately and drive away because they don't want anyone to find them. That was so funny. Had the theater screaming right out the gate. Like, yeah, it just set the tone so good. Pontius's dick is just amazing. It's not in it as much as I would have hoped, not in it nearly as much as it's in Forever, but it is so good and goes so far this time that it even does need to be censored for a shot. Spike Jonze was really great in this. Oh my gosh, the bad grandpa bit that they show is the funniest bad grandpa bit I've ever seen. I love Jackass, obviously. I'm very partial to it. I think it's very funny. My least favorite bit, other than the shit jokes, are just the bad grandpa jokes. Not because they're unfunny. Like, you know, there's some really great bad grandpa bits. You're gonna need some long hair to cover that redneck, boy. There's shit like that, like, I still quote all the time in my life. But there's other bad grandpa bits where it's like, oh my gosh, Irving, this just goes on forever. You're old, you have saggy balls, I get it. No, this one did not go on forever. This one had me, like, crying, laughing. Only got funnier as it went along, too. And, like, ended on, like, that was the craziest part, that the bad grandpa bit ended on a high. I will shout out, Jackass Forever had a great bad grandpa bit, too. They've gotten better with age. As he gets older and becomes an actual grandpa, the bad grandpa bits actually get kind of funnier. They're always so fucking funny. This shit's just always funny. Even the lesser funny stuff is, like, way better than the best stuff in anything else. I mean, I watched John Cena and Eric Andre's Little Brother, it was called, on Netflix, which is, like, the type of mainstream studio comedy we get these days. And it was, like, mediocre. It was fine. It was better than some of the other shittier ones we've gotten. Certainly better than, like, A Family Affair on Netflix or something like that. But it's like a 2.5-star movie. It made me laugh like 5 times. This just made me laugh so hard throughout the whole thing. So I would definitely recommend going out and taking the time to see this. I will personally say my favorite new segment would be, it was a very simple one. It was just Jackass having his giant Jackass lowered down onto their faces while they're doing trivia. And Danger Aaron, of course, gets his face sat on. Danger Aaron also gets, like killed to end this. I'm glad they understood killing them was the most logical way to end that. That was so good. It was just so good. It was satisfying to me. I understand being disappointed because, like, my wife walked out of it like there was literally 30 minutes of new footage. Are you kidding me? But me and my friend Eli, who are lifelong Jackasses, absolutely both agreed that it was a totally satisfying send-off to them. And if forever was the perfect, they can still do it when they're old, this was the perfect love letter to say goodbye. So I had a great time, and I hope you enjoyed it too. Go see Jackass Best and Last this weekend. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.